Why are you here? Are you living an authentic life? Are you on the path that you chose, or are you on the path that someone else chose for you? Do you say what you think, or do you say what people want to hear, or what you think people want to hear? Do you spend time on what fulfills you, or do you spend time on things that just are distracting you in your life? Well, depending on how you answer those questions, you might not be living an authentic life, and you might not be living true to your purpose. Welcome back to Thinking and Being. If you like what you see today in this video, please go ahead and like and subscribe so you can see more content like this. Today, I want to talk about authenticity and why I think it's so important to be authentic in your life. I'm going to talk about some of the ways that historically other people who have spent a lot of time thinking about this have thought about what it means to be authentic and why they think the universe wants you to be authentic. Then I'm going to talk about a handful of ways that I think that you should be authentic, in my own opinion, based on my experience. Then I'm going to talk about some things I recently realized as a result of reading a book that I'll mention later. Then I'm going to talk about some ways that you're probably not being authentic, and you may need to fix these things. And then finally, I'll wrap it up with some quick remedies to help you live a more authentic life. And you may notice I have an interesting stand here for my microphone. It's made of Legos. I'm not one of those people who really wants a really big microphone. It's just not for me. It'd be just really weird.
Today we're going to talk about how fish are sexually attracted to large white sharks. On this podcast, I hope you enjoy.
I'm not really into that. I'm not really into hiding. I don't want to hide behind a big microphone, at least not yet. I'll get better equipment in time, but for now, I think this microphone does just fine, and hopefully it's not crackling. Sometimes it does. So we'll see. Remember when you were a kid, how it felt on any random day, how authentic you felt? Do you remember what it felt to get excited about things, like really excited about something going on or something somebody told you about, and how that felt? You were probably being a lot more authentic in that moment. You were probably a lot more authentic as a young human being than you are today. Because by now, today, you've had a lot of things schooled out of you over time. You've inherently, implicitly learned to be a certain way in your life that have given you certain habits that have taken you far away from an authentic path. Unfortunately, as these instincts that you used to have been schooled out of you, you're probably having habits or having a life that not only feels inauthentic, isn't really serving your purpose of why you're here, but also is maybe causing you problems in your life as well. So let's just do a little thought experiment. Let's pretend you're in charge of all the souls in the universe. Let's not worry about whether they're human or not or whatever, but you're in charge of sending human souls to the planet Earth for whatever this super fun experiment is. What would be the purpose of sending souls to planet Earth for this life that you're going to live? So then it comes back to the question of, why were you sent here? Why are you here? Are you really being authentic? Well, I would imagine if you're that person or you're that entity that's managing all those souls, you're probably being sent to planet Earth because you need to learn some kind of lesson. And in part, you're going to learn that lesson through an authentic life. And I think that's really the key message I want to get across here in this video, is that there's a reason you're here. And I think one of the main reasons that you're here is that you're here to learn something and bring that learning back as your soul goes back to wherever it came from. So in a sense, let's just assume for this video that the universe wants you to live an authentic life. And next, I'm going to go through a bunch of reasons why that is. The first reason is authenticity leads to enlightenment. In Buddhism, the concept of Dharma talks about living life in line with your true nature or your true purpose. In other related concepts, self-realization is achieved by stripping away ego-driven roles and false identities. In this way, the universe wants you to be authentic because it helps you align with your true nature and accelerates your spiritual awakening. The second way the universe wants you to be authentic is in that it reduces suffering. In Hinduism, living out of line with your true self leads to negative karma. In existentialist thought, living out of line with someone's true purpose creates inner angst and conflict. In this way, the universe probably wants us to live authentic lives, to be able to escape the suffering of self deception and move towards liberation or something like nirvana. The third way is that authenticity helps human beings enhance our collective evolution. So, how we evolve individually affects how we evolve collectively. And this is a very interesting concept of things like consciousness and then Buddhism and some other thoughts where we're not just one self, we're all connected, we're all one consciousness. Maybe a video on that in the future is coming. Carl Jung, who's a very famous psychologist, once talked about the fact that becoming a fully developed self was crucial not just for well-being, but for collective human evolution. Taoism also suggests that all beings have an innate nature and that resisting it causes great imbalance. So in this way, the universe wants us to be authentic because we all have a role to play in the whole grand order of things. If you suppress who you truly are, then you may be disrupting the harmony of our collective existence. The fourth way that authenticity is important for the universe and the human experience is that authenticity allows the soul to fulfill its purpose for being here. We were sent here for a reason. Why? To fulfill that purpose. The Kabbalah suggests that each person has a unique tikkun olam, or a soul correction that must be done while you're here, which is a mission to repair your soul and contribute in some meaningful way to the world. Stoicism, or Marcus Aurelius, who I've talked about before in past videos, who's a great Stoic philosopher, talks about the fact that everything in the universe has a purpose, and every human must act in line with our inner nature or our logos. So, in this way, the universe wants us to be authentic so that we live in line with our unique cosmic purpose. The fifth reason that the universe might want us to live authentically is that living authentically creates a ripple effect. In Buddhism, one who seeks enlightenment for all other beings influence others simply by being their most awakened self. Also, quantum social theory talks about individual consciousness affecting the collective in ways that we don't really understand yet in science. So if consciousness is interconnected, finding purpose, being authentic, self-realization or self-actualization helps create a ripple effect that encourages others to do the same. And maybe that's what I'm trying to do with this video right now. So in this way, the universe would want people to live authentically because it elevates human consciousness. Another reason the universe would want humans to live authentically is to reach self-actualization. Maslow, who is a psychologist who has his Maslow's hierarchy of needs, he places self-actualization at the very top of human psychological development, placing these things after basic human needs at the bottom, but it's a critical path. Reaching self-actualization is at the very top, and very few people actually reach this step when there's other steps that need to be achieved before. Also, Carl Sagan wrote about the fact that we're all part of a vast cosmic system, and understanding our place in the universe promotes authenticity and humility. So in this way, the universe wants us to be authentic because it's all part of a broader collective cosmic perspective. Because in this way, we can elevate human potential, contribute more meaningfully to society, and help people see beyond societal pressures and be their true self. So these are just some ways, these are 6 ways that theologians, psychologists, philosophers have talked about in the past and essentially agree with the fact that if there's some universal soul manager and sending people to earth, or however you would like to think of it, whatever analogy works for you, your purpose here is to be authentic as a human being. Now I'd like to talk about 3 ways that I think humans can be authentic. in their own way. The first way is that you need to really think about putting yourself first, and you're not doing things for others. I know a lot of people who lay themselves on the line at the expense of themselves to do things and work hard for others. There's a happy medium to that, but if most of your life is taken up doing things for others, that's not ultimately good for you, and that's probably not the purpose that you're here for. If you're doing things constantly for others, then really what's the point of your unique soul being here in this life?
I respect your moral objection.
Yes, you can help others, but what becomes uniquely you? And so some time needs to be spent on that rather than on others, even though doing that could be a good thing. You should be doing things for yourself primarily, which will help you become a more effective and more impactful to others. Another way that I think you can really be authentic is by working for yourself and not working for others. And this refers not for just what you do for others, but like how you work and what you spend most of your time on in your life. So, what is your profession? Are you working for yourself or are you working for the man? And I may do a video on that in the future.
Uh-oh. Two independent thought alarms in one day. The students are overstimulated. Willie, remove all the colored chalk from the classrooms.
I warned you! Didn't I warn you? That colored chalk was forged by Lucifer himself!
Are you evolving your art or your craft or your work? Are you doing those things for somebody else or are you doing it for you? Many of us are not doing it for ourselves, but I think in that way, if you're working towards working for yourself, then you're learning things, experimenting, evolving, and living authentically. The third way that I think that people can live authentically, in my opinion, is that not caring what other people think. I think that this is essential, and it's not about disrespecting other people or, putting people's feelings aside or, being rude or anything like that. It's about really understanding that number one, people don't think about you as often as you think they think about you. And number two, don't worry about what people's perceptions are of you and don't mold your life around what people's perceptions of you are. Just the same reason I'm doing YouTube videos, I'm not really worried about what people's perceptions are. I just want to get some ideas out there and think things through discussion and start engaging with the world about different ideas. With that, I've snuck my way into my YouTube shout out for this video, which is I would like to shout out a content creator who's done a lot of videos around, philosophy, productivity, great books to read, letting go, life lessons, overcoming your demons, anxiety. And one of his main things and his main interest is psychology. His name is Mark Manson. He's at I am Mark Manson on YouTube. And I'm also not going to promote a product in this video. I'm going to promote his book. So not only does it have a YouTube channel, he also has a book that really helped me wake up and realize that I maybe should be living a different way and not worrying about what other people think. And that book is called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I like this book a lot because one of the takeaways was you have limited time, so you should choose what you give a fuck about. And becoming mature, I think, is being able to really be deliberate about what you give a fuck about in life and not getting sucked into the noise and distraction. The second thing that I took from that book is that happiness comes from solving meaningful problems. And life is struggle, life is change. When you're attacking and solving meaningful problems, that is more on the side of living authentically and helping your soul evolve, however that may be. Another takeaway from the book I'll cover really quick was that when you let go of being exceptional, then you can really focus on living and working towards a purpose and your purpose for being here in this world and focusing on just being real. So what are some ways that you might not be living authentically? And I think this goes for a lot of us. First reason is that you might be going after validation over meaning. Are you doing what looks good, or are you doing what feels right? Are you doing things based on likes, followers, or approval? Or are you doing things based on personal fulfillment? Second way you might not be living authentically is that you avoid discomfort and hard truths. And I have a video about this, which I'll link at the end of the video, about a distracted life. Do you distract yourself with endless entertainment, consumerism, or busyness to avoid facing reality? Do you choose comfort over growth, even if it means being stuck? The third way you might not be authentic in your life is that you might be playing roles instead of being real. Are you acting how you think you should instead of acting how you really feel? Are you suppressing your ideas and real personality to fit in rather than embrace who you really are and show people who you really are and embrace your individuality? The fourth reason is probably one of the reasons it's most common, the one that I probably most have seen in other human beings, which is you may be living inauthentically because you're letting fear dictate your life. So that means things like staying in the wrong job, routine, or relationship because you're worried about change and change is scary. Or you're making decisions based on fear of judgment rather than actual true desire. And then the last way, or fifth way, that you might not be living authentically is that you might be putting distractions before purpose or above purpose.
Yes, I get it. I am distracted.
In this way, you may be avoiding the uncomfortable work of self-discovery and truly engaging with the experience of life. Okay, but don't fear. Here's 5 quick remedies that you can use to start living more towards an authentic life. The first way is to be authentic with your choices and your decision making. Are you doing something because you truly want to, or are you doing it because you think it's expected of? And this goes for all choices, small, medium, and large in life. All these things can help shape your authentic path. The second way to be more authentic is to really cut back on noise and distractions. Stop chasing validation from external pressures or from social media and that sort of thing. Instead, focus on what really adds real meaning to your life. The third way you can live a little more authentically is to do things for yourself, not for applause. Your passions, your values, and your interests are enough, period. If no one could see your success, would you still do it? Fourth, find purpose through what I call exploration. Try new things, fail, pivot, and reflect. You can't learn unless you're failing or trying new things. Part of the life experience is to learn and figure out what truly resonates with you. That's why this one's so important. And last, accept that not everyone's going to get it. They're not going to get you. They're not going to get where you're going, but that's okay. Some people just won't like it, but the people that matter most will definitely respect it. Also, in this way, you can free yourself from the need for approval. So thanks for sticking around on this video where we talked about living an authentic life and how and why the universe might want you to live an authentic life while you're here with the rest of us. I talked about different ways that have been talked about in history from theologians, philosophers, psychologists, about why the universe might want you to be more authentic. Then I talked about some ways that I think, in my opinion, that the universe would want you to live more authentically. Then I talked about some ways that you might not be living authentically, and that goes for probably a lot of you. And finally, I wrapped it up with 5 ways that you can start moving towards a more authentic life in your thoughts and your habits. Thanks again. If you like what you saw, please press like and go ahead and subscribe to see more content like this. In this channel, we're going to talk about philosophy, psychology, consciousness, health, and I will get to an episode in the future about physics. Definitely want to touch on that. Keep saying that, but yes, we are going to cover some things around physics in this channel and maybe some of its intersections with consciousness. Keep thinking and being, and do not go gentle into that good night.